Hello, everyone. I want to talk a little bit about how the difference between the INFJ and kind of how the judging takes over, and how the judging is probably the most important part of being an INFJ personality type. I think it's very interesting, and it's a very a topic that I've been thinking about for probably a few months actually, because I did have a little bit of a identity crisis about with thinking if I was an INFP or an INFJ, but I realized that I was an INFJ because of like one word, and it's a weird word because it's not a real word, but it's called stick-to-itiveness. Stick-to-itiveness, and it means that you don't give up easily. You stick to certain things. It's not that you give up like you're more brave, but you stick to things much more. You definitely uh, judging types definitely have more desire for completion. They have more desire for you know, uh, going ahead and once they start something, definitely finishing it, and then also just like always having that desire. I definitely have a desire to finish things. I don't like leaving things unsettled. I don't like leaving things, um, you know, uh, up in the air. I don't like having my plans be. I like my plans to be cemented. I like to be like if I'm going out to a party or something, we're gonna be there at 7 o'clock and blah blah blah, and I don't like going off the cuff on that way, which kind of makes no sense because if you're a feeling type, you base your decisions on feeling. That's confusing because sometimes that the feeling can look like perceiving, and intuition can look like perceiving sometimes. So that's why it's confusing for other people, and they don't really quite get where to put us. So you know how I really came up to my head, how I really thought about what it was about, is my brother told me that I was. He didn't really know much about Myers Briggs, or he didn't talk about it because that's just too that's just way too intellectual or something. And he told me I stick to one thing and I give it 100%. I just stick in one thing, and I thought about that my whole life. And like I just picked a sport I liked, and I stuck to it, and I didn't choose any other sport. I didn't do any of the sports besides that, and I did well in that sport, very well. I picked a job in the last few years, and I've stuck to that for 4 years. I've done things where I just stick to things. I don't give up easily on people. I don't ever give up on people. I always believe that people can do better, and they can always be forgiven, or they can always be better, or these one little thing can happen and their whole lives will change. And it's not about that. It's about sticking to people and not giving up on them. And that's why I don't feel like I could ever give up on someone. And there are some drawbacks to that. I think there's some drawbacks to sometimes you should choose a different path. Sometimes you should let's take a step back at things and then do it. But when I typically do, why I think I've done successful in some areas is that because I think about things, I think about what I really want, and then when I realize, okay, this is probably where I fit, and then I keep going for it. So and then like I really, and then like when you have those setbacks, that's when the judging part kicks in, and that's when it goes, okay, like I had a setback, it's okay. We need to still finish this. We need to complete this. So I used to confuse this with hard work and dedication. I used to think I was always very hardworking, dedicated. I was a swimmer, and I was really, really like I would just beat everyone every day in the water. I beat everyone in practice, like no problem. Like I would kill them, and it was like overwork. People said you work too hard. You do all these crazy things. You work crazy, um, and I was like, what the hell? This is such bullshit. Like I just want to work hard, and I stick to this, and I really stuck to swimming, and I really just went for it, and I did get better. And as I grew up, I could have dropped off at 12. I could have dropped off here. I didn't. I kept going for it, and I got some good benefits from it. So, but there's some other things where you can stick to something. You might stick to a relationship, and it might not work well. You might stick to some friends who and try to and it doesn't make you feel good. So sticking to it's not always good. I look at perceiving types and I kind of get jealous because, they gotta go off the cuff a bit, and sometimes it just works out for them. They sometimes don't stress about shit, and then like it just everything works out. It's fine. Like, and that's how it is for most people, everything does work out for them. But when I think of some really perceiving types, I think about Captain Jack Sparrow, who just like he just walks around. And he's like, "What?" and he like walks around and just like he doesn't do anything. He doesn't make any decisions, and it's all perceiving mode. Um, and he just has to, he just goes around and just goes off the cuff a bit, and he everything works out for him. But like in that movie Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one was so good is because he's doing all these things. You don't know if he planned all that or if he's just going off the cuff, which is what's interesting. Um, so I think that's cool. And I think that's why I really like. I get along well with perceiving types. I'm supposed to get along most with ENTP. I do get along well with like ESTPs and ESFPs because they're just fun and they just do things much differently than I do, and I get along with that. Um, so what I wanted to finish up with was, why does a good judging type control that INFJ? It makes the INFJ that person who is that religious worker who does not give up on someone. It is that person, that psychologist kind of person who feels that need to help people, but does not stop. I've been dealing with family problems for the last few years, and I choose to not give up on them. I choose to not. I just continually, no matter who it is in my family, whoever I'm talking to, I do not give up on them. I will not do that. I don't think I ever will give up on someone in that way. So it is about stick-to-itiveness. Um, uh, Martin Luther King's a good example. He got into a horrible thing with going to prison, and he's an INFJ, and he had this cause in his mind, this cause of the civil rights, black people movement, and really helped and made some good change to people. And given in prison, and then he kept fighting. He kept fighting, going, and people hated him. People fucking hated him because he was saying, no, this is not right. This is not right that we have a certain class of people separated from everyone else. So Martin Luther King is a judging type. He keeps going, but eventually he gets killed, which is martyrdom, which is a lot of what there's a stereotype of INFJs and being martyrs and shit. And I believe in that mentality too. Depends on the day. So what I wanted to say is, I just think it's important if you're a judging type or if you're an INFJ, or if you want to understand more about it, I think it's interesting to say that INFJs do not give up on people, and that's what makes us good for dealing with social problems and issues, and like being like religious workers, and sociology kind of workers, like people who are interested in people, but work at doing that all the time. So that's why that's there. So let me know what you guys think. I think that was a interesting thought and all that. So all right, thanks. Bye.